Yes, that's right. It's this bloody thing again. Now, I thought last time that we had a problem with the power supply. So, I got my friend Alex to try his deck, and his working deck that is, and actually see if it made a similar noise. And yes, his does make a similar noise, that sort of like light fizzing noise that you get from the power supply stage. So that got me onto looking on more and more forums and internet sites and all of that sort of business about what the problem with this deck could possibly be. And someone was suggesting, oh, do you know what, it could be the boards, they may not be in properly. So I thought, that is actually quite plausible, and that is certainly something that we can look into, but I'm not convinced that that will actually solve my problem. But certainly in his case, he was having very similar symptoms, and in his case it did actually resolve the issue. Now, one of the big things I've done recently is actually to take this deck out, and it was actually better before the deck was removed. It wasn't perfect and it would still shut off, but it was better. So I'm going to put the deck out again, and then I'm going to, once the deck is out, not fully out, I'm actually just going to connect, or rather check, all of the wiring connections, make sure that they're still tight and solid. Now, if you remember, you've got 3 screws, these sort of long flat blade ones, holding in the deck at 3 points. 1, 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3. To get to this third one, you do need to arch or tip the front panel forwards, and that will actually give you access to that third screw. There we go. So I'll just get this off, tip this forwards. And if you remember, you had all of these which went through various boards on the machine. So there was one here, there was one here, there was a load down here which went onto the main board, and these ones, they are solidly in place. So I am double checking them again, but they are very solidly connected. But you also had underneath the deck itself, there were a series of multi-plug connectors. So if I gently tip this out, so lift, and pop it about here for the moment. I just have to rest it there. As you might be able to see, there were, just hold that there a moment. And we'll just come into focus. There were several connectors on the board itself, so I'm just pressing all of those down again to make sure that none of them have shifted, moved, popped out, etc. And they seem to be okay, so we don't seem to have any issues there. So what I'll also do is tip this up and back, check all the connectors on the little boards which I may have disturbed when replacing those relays. And then forward and down. So I'm going to plug it in now. And I'm going to try the good old-fashioned wiggling of wires to see what suddenly makes it continue to work and what actually stops it. So put it on, hit play. And yes, it does work on play, but these spindles stop spinning. So let's get wraggling. As you pick the deck up itself. Oh, that was the head. Ugh. Careful. Right, let's try stop and let's try wind. Okay, that's interesting. Previously, this was actually stopping when trying the wind function. Now, it's continuing to go. So if I just hit stop and try rewind, doesn't appear to be stopping any longer. So if I very carefully, that's interesting. So as soon as I do that, it stops or goes into standby. So let's just hold this again and hit. Right, okay, so let's tip this up again. Let's hit rewind or search or whatever. That seems fine. But if I tip it forward, so it's not tipped forward yet. So it's still in rewind mode. If I tip it forward gently, there's your point where it stops rewinding and goes into standby. So let's just pop that down again. Let's try rewind again or fast forward. Okay, that's actually lasting a lot longer. Okay, that's actually lasting now. Before, that wasn't continuing to fast forward or rewind. It was stopping. So if I eject and pop a cassette in, let's try to play. It laces. Oh dear, it's not very happy, is it? But that's now rewinding, which is interesting. That's very interesting. That is actually rewinding properly. And it's not stopping rewinding either. Previously it would stop. And it ejects without issue. Now, why, when you press play, is it going straight into a non-playback state? That's what's interesting me. So let's take this up and let's have a look. Let's have a look at the mechanism itself. So around here you have a capstan. So I may as well focus in on the activities. Actually, if I come up a bit, so we're focusing in on the deck. We have a capstan here, we have a pinch roller here. So when I hit play, spools operate as they should. So if I hit play, that should actually load, but it doesn't seem to be at the moment, and it's going into standby again. I'm wondering if that's an optical issue. Let's try and get the shade on the situation by just popping this under here, like so. Now it's gone back to doing that again. Now it's not lacing at all. And now it's not continuing to fast forward at all. So that's annoying and interesting. Let's try lifting the deck out again. Alright, let's go vertically. Let's try play. Now it laces. And I see part of the problem. The pinch roller is very sticky and not making contact with the capstan. So that's not going to help very much with the playback of any cassettes that happen to be in there. So that's interesting. The capstan is rotating, but the take-up spool isn't. So if I eject, now if I fast forward, it will actually fast forward, and it will actually continue to fast forward. Okay, so seem happier operating vertically. Let's put it down in the position it's supposed to operate in. And there we go. And as soon as you put it down in that position, it doesn't operate anymore. I do wonder if it is direct sunlight. Let's try this method. Yeah, it must be the sunlight, because that's now working. So if I stop, And if I fast forward again, and that's now working with the fast forward, but as soon as you take that off, it stops. So that's an optical issue. Right, what I want to try is if I can get playback working. So what I want to do is cover it like so, hit play. Oh, sorry, that's fast forward. Hit play. And the take-up spool isn't working. So there's a problem with the take-up spool, and it might actually be a DEX sensor that's at fault. But I have got it kind of playing back. It can fast forward, it can rewind. I'll take that away. There you go, that'll stop. If I put that back again, that will continue to run. So the next thing that I need to understand is what sensors are affected when you hit playback. Oh my god, what's going on there? That's an interesting set of noises. Youth. I think the tape is broken. Let's have a look. Yeah, there you go. Tape has snapped. Oh man alive. And there you go. No cassette. Oh well, at least that gives me an opportunity for another video series of fixing a broken V2000 cassette. Excellent. That's good news. Yay. Right, so I don't really want to break into another cassette. So I'm beginning to think now so this is and it does the same to that. I've just ruined another bloody cassette. So it must be something to do with tape end sensors. That is the only logical thing that it can be, because if it's not detecting any tape, it's not going to play back, is it? It's not going to accept it's not going to continue rotating that spool. So I'll be honest, I don't know how the tape end sensors on this work. I don't know if they're clear like VHS, or if they have a metal leader like Betamax, but that has really annoyingly snapped this tape. And I don't even know how you get into these. It looks like they clip together. Oh well, that'll be the next episode, exploring how to get that out and sorted out. Okay, so I think we might be on to something. There is no longer the number of issues that we had with this deck, but there might be a problem with the optical end sensor. or the metallic detect end sensor, whatever this deck is using. Crikey. Right, okay. Anyway, for the moment, I'm going to call it a day with this one. Put it back together and just pop it to one side and have a look to see if I can actually repair the cassettes that I appear to have broken. So, for the moment, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have found this interesting. I will see you again in the next one. Take care and see you soon.